Hey guys, thank you for joining our new podcast as well as the radio session for Mbono. Something new this week that's happening on Business Bytes is we're going to be doing this video as well. We're not just going to be doing a radio interview, so you'll be able to find this on the Tattered Mentor, which is my YouTube site where you can go to and you're able to go to my channel. But of course, it's first going to be on Mbonoradio station. So Wednesdays from 1 to 2 it'll be on Mbono, and then after that we'll upload it on every Friday. Every radio interview that we have we'll upload as well as a video podcast, so that you guys are able to also view that from there. Again, my name is Grover Abrams. I'm the CEO of a company called Verve Digital. We do AI solutions as well as learning solutions, or digital learning solutions specifically, really focused in the HR space. And every week I talk to people in the industry that have come up from very humble beginnings to where they are now. So as I speak to CEOs, CIOs, I speak to heads of different divisions, so that we're all able to see that it's possible, that you are able to, you as a person, possibly a disadvantaged area, struggling a little bit, you can get there. We all come from very humble beginnings, most of the people that I speak to, and we are able and were able to kind of push through all the difficulties to get to where we are. So really excited to be talking to you. I'm really excited about this new series. Again, Tattered Mentor on YouTube, and of course it's going to be on Mbonoradio station, which is mbonoradio.co.za. If you're looking at this on YouTube, you're able to listen to that as well there. But thank you very much. We're going to be getting straight into the interview. Today we're going to be talking to a person by the name of Chesarae K Pillay, who is one of the technologists who works for a company called Capaciti, which is part of the UVU Africa group. So very excited to talk to him. He's very much aligned to my beliefs and doing a lot of the stuff that we do at Verve that I'm very passionate about. He's clearly a passionate person as well, specifically about youth development and social upliftment as well. So yeah, very happy to speak to him, so we can just get straight into it.
Hi, Gro.
Hi, Cheserae. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and yourself?
Very well, thanks. Is that how I pronounce your name, Cheserae?
Well done.
No, I must be honest. I cheated a bit because Sean told me. So
That's good. That's good. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you, man? Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you, and apologies for running a little late. It's just been chaos this week with a whole lot of work stuff.
No problem at all. No problem. Yeah, thanks for doing this interview. I know that it was very short notice. It was just somebody let me down. I was supposed to do a lady from the competition commission, but I can't believe Sean didn't tell me about you before. It was, we definitely seem aligned in the stuff we're doing. With the youth and stuff like that. So it's really cool to meet you.
I saw you also have an e-learning platform.
Yes, that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, definitely love to chat to you around this and some other things. And I also wanted to find out if you are available tomorrow after midday. We're having a industry event in Cape Town, in Woodstock. And if you are free, I'd love to send you an invite to pop around after 1. There's going to be a whole lot of different individuals that are going to be there. I'm sure you.
I would love to. I'm based in Joburg, in Sandton, so unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. But we are planning to make a trip down. Me and another one of my guys soonish. So we definitely should make a plan to meet. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Cool. Yeah, I was trying to make sure everything's set up. My guy's disappeared now. AD? I'm sure it's recording. Let me just double check, and then we can kick it off. Yeah. Well, I like to keep it fun stuff.
I see you also use Fireflies.
Yes, Fireflies.
Nice.
Yeah. It's just easier to just, but it's not really relevant for this because we're recording the session. But still, it's nice. Just give me 1 second. Okay, we pressed record already, so I think we're good to go. We're good to go.
Excellent.
Awesome. Cool. I'm just going to kind of introduce you again, and then kind of greet you again, just because of the whole thing, and then because of the recording, and then we can kick off. Perfect. Set up my PC here.
We just getting one thing out of the way.
One second, almost there. Perfect. Ready to go. Let me know when you're ready.
I am ready.
Awesomeness. Okay, I was ready, and now. Okay, there we go. Sorted. Okay, now I'm sorted. Chesarae, thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast / radio interview. As you know, we have these sessions and these discussions with industry leaders, just regarding what they've done, where they've come from, to give the youth a little bit of some kind of positive view on what can happen. And I don't know what your history is. We're going to go through that, your background and that now. But very excited to talk to you. I'm very excited to talk to you about what you're doing. I think it's in Cape Town, Capaciti. You're based in Cape Town?
Correct. We're based in Cape Town and Johannesburg.
And Johannesburg, okay. Yeah, very excited to talk. But I think maybe just to kick it off, if we could just talk about a little bit more about your background and kind of where you started. And maybe you could also just include in there as well, kind of any challenges you might have experienced as a person of color growing up in South Africa.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for having me on the show. And it's a pleasure to meet you. So I'm Chesarae K Pillay. I consider myself a technologist in the industry. I'm very passionate about technology and the effect it has on both people and society. And primarily for today's talk, I'm going to talk about one of the passion projects that I'm involved in, which is Capaciti, which is part of the Uber group, because a lot of the mission of what the organization aims to do aligns to a big challenge in society today, which is with unemployment, and especially with our youth getting with professional skills, giving them the opportunity to get into the professional market and industry. There's a big gap in there, and I remember you talking about growing up, and there was always something called the digital divide, is what was termed, in the early 2010s, and so. But now we're seeing more. It's less about digital divide, because everybody now has access, to the digital ecosystem. It's more about ensuring that there's the divide between individuals being able to actually enter themselves into the industry and the market. But that's a bit about the passionate project that we're working with Capaciti. But a bit about myself. I've been in the industry for close on to 2 decades. I've been working in various sectors, such as the health sector, together even with the Department of Health, in the financial sector. And I guess in this chapter of my life, I ended up in education. And because I felt it was one of the best ways in terms of, building technology to help people learn and to grow. It's one of the most rewarding things when you see people use your systems in order to better themselves. And I ended up in the edtech field, and through that ended up doing a lot more things, because I might love technology, but technology and the industry and business go hand in hand. So you can't just be one-dimensional in terms of technology. You have to branch off into what that technology is being used for, in order to be a full end-to-end type of solution. And I pretty much, in terms of me, I love to drive transformation in businesses through technology, and technology is never used in isolation. It's in together with people and processes, and if those work in harmony, you'll end up with creating excellent value.
Right up my alley. I mean, as you know, I'm also in the learning space, digital learning space, and I've got such a passion for youth. This is obviously the reason that I run the show, to try and bring that kind of understanding to people in the different areas. So spot on, and the people process technology spot on. Yeah, I work with that daily as well. Um, and just specifically with you, kind of growing up, how did how did you experience just kind of being that person of color growing up in South Africa?
Well, I live in Cape Town at the moment, and I was originally from Durban,
Yes.
Proud Durbanite. And growing up, I grew up in an Indian community called Springfield,
Yes.
in Durban, and uh, I got to experience, the full extent of living in an Indian community. And my father got a wonderful opportunity to move to a more affluent area per se. So I got the best of both worlds in that first decade of life to see how things are different. And as a kid, you don't often notice it because you're just going with the flow of things. But I was lucky enough after 1994, I ended up going to what was previously a white-only school that started to, bring in a lot of people of color. So it ended up being a lot of mixed race. And I was very fortunate enough to have the opportunity to be with individuals of other races. So, in terms of me and in my life, you get to learn a lot by, integrating and understanding different cultures, different ways of life. And for me as an Indian, I'm still a proud Indian and a Hindu, a Buddhist in that. And I love and seeing the way that society has changed to become more accepting of diversity and differences. Whereas before things were just more homogenized, with various things we would nowadays people complain about singing hymns at the beginning of. I don't even think it exists in most schools these days where you have that. But I loved it. I would still sing that, and you learn to appreciate and accept a whole range of different things. And even when I went to high school, I used to go to mosque on a Friday just to experience that. And I love the fact that we were able to experience those different things in society. And being a person of color, you do notice the differences with people who aren't as open-minded, particularly like, for example, in the primary school that I was in. It took a while for a lot of the older school individuals to accept, and to treat everybody the same in the same way. But in some ways it's difficult when you're going through it, but when you look back, and a lot of those individuals and teachers, it's a wonderful feeling when they actually come to that level of acceptance that there is no difference with race or color in with it, especially when you as an individual just try to be authentically yourself.
Yes.
And be a good person. And that's one of the things that I say is if you do good will come to you.
Absolutely. Spot on. Very nice kind of view on that, with your experience of the integration into different races. And that's quite important, obviously, and really, really interesting to hear. Kind of want to move into the Capaciti side of things now, right? So just to understand, what you guys are doing, what kind of support are you guys support? What kind of programs are you putting in at least to support local communities? Maybe we could start off on what Capaciti is. Actually, that probably would be the better.
Yeah, that's a great question. Capaciti, to sum up in a sentence, is a career tech accelerator, and what that means is we work to take individuals from underprivileged backgrounds or previously marginalized or excluded backgrounds, and we host them on an internship. Predominantly between 6 months to a year. And the best way to describe Capaciti in that way is that we instill both the soft skills and the technical skills needed for them to become digital citizens, is what we refer to, and allow them to fast track their career growth. Because like I mentioned before, a lot of the individuals might have been in their own economic bubble of underprivileged or whatever school that they went to. They might not have been exposed to a lot of things. There's a lot of cultural differences as well, and even down to being very introverted in certain aspects. What Capaciti does is not only tries to teach them technical skills, and we have a variety of different industry courses, as well as CETA accredited courses that we run. But it's about instilling them with, for instance, a skill in Microsoft Azure or AWS Cloud, but also applying whatever soft skills needed so that they can become more effective when they head into the workplace. And the way that we do it as well is not just a training institution. It's an institution that takes on an individual. We pay them a stipend and a salary basically while they're training with us, because a lot of people don't, unless you're in it, you don't realize the barrier to entry for an individual who is from a disadvantaged background, even down to being able to support themselves for rent or food or even data costs to being able to. So we incubate them almost for that period, give them the best opportunities and the best abilities for them to flourish. And we also then partner with private companies in order to employ them. So it's not a case of just training them and then hoping that they find a job. There's an entire team within Capaciti, and in fact, the entire Capaciti team is an all-women executive team, and they have a passion for ensuring that there's equality as well in terms of gender, and just in terms of some stats of Capaciti. We've trained over 4,600 individuals over the past half a decade to take them from being individuals with no skill and even in certain cases, matric or some tertiary education to being employed. And with that, they while they were with us, like stipends provided to them was over 166 million. And then also with salaries that they earned post working with us, they've earned over 300 million in terms of their own salaries that they've gained. So we keep in touch with the individuals that go through our program. And the best way to describe Capaciti is a tech accelerator. And to individuals who want to explore what Capaciti, just go to our website, capaciti.org.za, and you'll see the programs that are on offer. And another thing that to mention is that it's the public private partnership. So Capaciti is funded by National Treasury, but we're also funded by private partners as well that will join us in order to say that if they have a need for a particular type of tech skill, be it like for example Microsoft Azure, or they need data engineers, or they need we're working with a bank now who is in dire need of COBOL mainframe skills. So we're working, which is a very old technology, and a lot of the individuals who are very skilled in that are actually ending into retirement. So they have this big gap now, and we're working on a project to find the individuals from various places within the country, get them into a Capaciti program, and then get them the appointment with those banks. And Capaciti has a branch both in Cape Town and in Johannesburg. And we also have recently launched satellite hubs in Hazyview and in Nelson Mandela Bay.
Okay. I did actually see those stats on your website. It was very impressive. I mean, you're seeing a whole lot of millions there. So a lot of stuff happening on your end, and obviously a lot of positive stuff that you're doing for the kids. So, or the youth, I wouldn't say the kids. So, it's really, really exciting stuff. It looks very, very.
And in the past 2 years, just in terms of stats, because I love stats, we went from a 40-60 ratio, 40 being female and 60 being male, to the point where we have more females on programs now than males. So, women in tech, it's moving quite rapidly. So we have the ability to effect that change, and we want to, in society, to create more equality and opportunities for everybody.
Spot on. Yeah, that's amazing. And did you hear that kind of split is getting bigger for women? It's just really great news. Do you guys do anything in the local schools, universities, specifically when it comes to kind of youth and technology? And if so, what kind of things do you do there?
We do. So we, not particularly in the universities, what we will do is we have programs that are offered to individuals who would have been in that. in those universities,
Yes.
and they will come onto a Capaciti program, and we have an entire candidate recruitment team that will go out and source individuals based on a particular criteria. And we will link with the universities in order to find those candidates. And they also the types of individuals that join with us is, you can almost think of it in the university or school space as a finishing school or graduate program. Except with this is that you have the opportunity to not just be with one company. You'll have a variety of companies where your skills could be absorbed into. And the goal that we say is that we would like to, for every candidate that walks through, is to be absorbed into a permanent employment opportunity. So we do a lot of work with various tertiary institutions and high schools.
And high schools as well. And then you talk about that walking into a kind of a job after that. So obviously that partnership of having private institutions and corporate organizations that take these guys as well. Is that my understanding correct?
Correct. It's to apply to the entire life cycle so that the loop is ended. Not as a case where a typical institution where they install you with the skill, but it's up to you to go and find a job afterwards. So you just end up with a certificate. And we see that as in some ways that's where the problem lies, because a lot of those candidates that don't end up with a job, we will bring them onto a Capaciti program in order to, and then what we actually find, and what is known throughout, is that individuals who leave university don't necessarily have all the skills that they need in order to be employable. They might have a technical knowledge or understanding. And even in some ways, in certain universities, the content that's being taught is actually very outdated. So the gap when they actually get a job is they have to reskill themselves even very quickly again to be relevant. So we try to bridge that gap quite a bit in that.
That makes sense. I had a question, and it actually just slipped my mind. But you shared a lot of data and insights with us already. And I can see a lot of inclusivity and diversity in your programs as well. And what's really interesting me is this, talking about women starting to become a lot more the difference between the 60-40 split that you were talking about. There's more women actually getting trained and hopefully finding jobs as well. Can you maybe give us some success stories if you have any? If not, that's fine as well. But just in terms of some people getting into organizations that might not previously have been able to.
It's we've been trialing various different programs. For women in tech. We actually have specific programs where, for example, it's called EWIT, Empowering Women in Technology. Yes. And that's with some various companies. I don't want to mention the names specifically, but the goal is to get individuals to skill up in Salesforce, for instance. Yes. Salesforce, the big CRM. And in many respects, women have a certain finesse when it comes to people and people skills, which is why they flourish very well in sales-orientated activities. When you call a call center, generally you're going to listen, or you're going to pick up and you're going to hear a woman on the other line, trying to contact you about insurance sales, etc.
Yes.
And we married that up to also not only get them into like a call center environment, but skill them up on a system that they could use to think about how that system applies to that organization. In terms of those success stories, we've had 100% success rates in terms of getting them into employment, and we've had 100% certification of them in Salesforce, which is not a very easy training program to do. And the other thing is that a lot of those candidates were not in tertiary education. They were straight out of matric, and they were looking for an opportunity. And instead of just going into a call center environment, immediately and then trying to work your way up, which is also very difficult because the hours that you work there, you barely have enough time to skill up yourselves.
Yes.
At least they have that opportunity to have a further certification, and they have the world is their ocean now in terms of what opportunities that they need. And what we also like to see in our working environment is that Capaciti models and simulates a work environment for an individual. So they have, the programs that we have, as I mentioned, is particularly 6 months to 1 year. They have that time to make mistakes, to learn how to integrate with people, to learn how to come out of their shell. And it's not even just saying between women and men. It's tech people and engineering mindset people are very introverted. And one of the skills of success in a career is the ability to actually communicate,
Yes.
communicate to people, on your level and above your level. And they get that opportunity to try that out. And we don't have our model that we use for training is not a teach and learn model. It's a mentor and model. So we don't have trainers per se. We have mentors that teach them. It's almost the individual that they need to learn. And I also I did a talk for the city of Cape Town, a keynote speech about mentorship. And we also try to instill in our candidates the importance of having a mentor in their career, because one of the key aspects to success for any individual in any career that you're going into, whether it's entrepreneurship or if you're going into a more vertical career style, is to have a mentor that will be able to guide you and get you through what you need to for your career and your aspirations.
Yeah, we actually spoke about this last week on my radio show and the week before as well, strangely enough. The first interview I had was with my mentor. Obviously, being a CEO in the company and stuff like that, a lot of times people think, that's it, you've made it, whatever, you don't need any help and whatever, but you always need a coach and a mentor. You're always bouncing things off people. So that's spot on, with what you guys are doing in terms of that. 100% success rate in terms of placements, that's, for me, unheard of. My company, tries to do something similar at a much smaller scale, of course, when we struggle to get 100%. So you guys are obviously doing some incredible work there. The one thing that I did want to kind of just pick up on...
That was for those particular programs, though.
Yeah. 100%.
Overall, there is some attrition.
Yeah. I'm sure there is. You guys, what do you say? How many people did you put through your programs? Like 6,000 or something?
Over, correct.
6,000. Yeah, so obviously you're going to have a little bit there, but I understand.
But remember, the attrition as well is also a positive attrition, if I could say, because if they leave our program, they generally are going into finding another job. And we are more than excited. We're one employer that isn't sad when somebody leaves. They're going to find another job, because our goal is to get them employed. And it's always good when we have a positive attrition like that. Hopefully they marry rich and they realize that they want to do other things, or there's a certain period in their life, they have kids, they want to take that moment away, have a sabbatical, where you get those. But primarily for us, our goal is to get people employed. So we're happy when they leave a program because they found another job.
That's a very good point and valid. I think it's obviously if you're leaving it to go to another actual job, that's what you want. You spot on. The thing that really interested me when you were talking about it with earlier was the technical skill, which is obviously what you guys, I want to say train, but I understand it's mentoring and coaching as well. But then that soft skills component as well, of building rapport with people, working in teams and that kind of stuff. Which is quite interesting for me, because that's a lot of the times kind of left out from these programs. It's just giving you a technical skill and kind of leaving you to go on. So that's a very, very pertinent point to me. I just wanted to kind of highlight it again and say that that's pretty impressive. Especially being in the e-learning space. There's not a lot of facilitation from what we do when we train kind of corporates and stuff like that. It's just literally, them on their own. So that's a very interesting and a commendable kind of approach that you guys take. So I just wanted to kind of commend you on that as well. Any challenges that you guys kind of face? with rolling out these products? What are the biggest challenges? Is it struggling with getting funding from people? Is it struggling to get more corporates on the books? Is there anything that you could pick up?
Well, struggle, or rather challenge. A challenge is always for us that, like you mentioned, getting more people on board, getting out there, and then managing the processes, because the devil's in the detail. Once you move on to these things, sometimes moving between aspiration and then planning and action,
Yes.
is very different. But for Capaciti, we're busy working on growing the organization to get more people in and just having more impact on society. So there will always be challenge in terms of wanting to meet those growth targets that we have in terms of being out there. Capaciti is part of an organization which is called UVU Africa, and that's also something worth for the listeners to have a look at. And they do a whole range of other initiatives in biotech, in entrepreneurship, in startups. So, and Capaciti is the one arm that does the tech acceleration for careers. So, in terms of challenges, our challenges is to get more people on board that would like to try out these models that we have in terms of employment. And the biggest challenge as well is the industry itself. It's also based on the market, whether people are hiring or on a slow downturn at the moment, which has an effect on the employability of individuals. So yeah, there are general challenges per se, but we're always ready to try and rise up and to meet our mission and goal, which is to get as many people in Africa employed.
That sounds like kind of a good partnership with
the biggest challenge though is more societal, is what's going to be happening next, especially with big tech firms and with the way society is moving towards more automation, robotics and AI, and what effect that has particularly in Africa. We're in our biggest bubble of growth and industrialization across the country, and with so many changes happening in first world economies that have a knock-on effect, you just hope that we'll be able to not only follow the models of first world economies, but create our own that work for Africa to allow for more employment for everybody. We have the biggest youth bubble in the world, and we will have that will be so for the next 50 years. So we have to have a solution for what happens to our youth when they get into employment opportunities.
Absolutely. And I mean, it sounds like you're even offering and asking people to join, which is a lot of times youth don't know where to go and where to actually register their interest for things like this, which we'll definitely put it on our website for Mbono, as well as my company's website. Your link to Capaciti for them to join that. Because that's really our passion. We want to just drive as many people as we can. And interesting, I actually wanted to, before you brought up the AI topic, which is obviously a lot of the stuff that we're doing as well is in the AI space. And I don't know if you've seen as well what's going on kind of globally with that, with this thing of spiritual intelligence or ethical AI. Things are going, which I think is, from what I've seen around, is happening quite a lot. Where companies are first looking at how do we use AI to support people rather than replace people, even though there are unethical kind of implementations. I get that, but anything in that space that you guys are looking at as well. Obviously, that's kind of new tech coming out from an AI perspective. Are you guys also kind of training people through that? Do you have any programs for that specifically?
That's a great question, and yes, we do. Because the other thing with Capaciti, like you mentioned, one of the challenges is just to get more people on board. Private companies, and the one thing that they do when they do come on board is to ask us, like, what AI courses do they have for the candidates, and we do have various AI courses. We have not only AI, is not really a course. It's something that you either have a skill that you have or know how to use. So we try to incorporate it into various aspects of their learning, in learning a tech stack or learning how to use it effectively for their operations, because AI is a tool, And if an individual is able to use it and maximize it, they can fast track their learning and careers. There's also a bad thing about it as well. With AI and the way people use it, it's almost like trying to understand the meaning of a movie while you're watching it and fast forward. Because AI is so much information in there that you can get, but you actually don't interpret it in the way that will allow it to give you meaning. So you end up, a lot of people just AI washing a whole lot of stuff without actually understanding the deeper meaning behind either what they're trying to prompt or what they're trying to receive with or send out with the information. So we try to also teach individuals how to use AI correctly and where best to use it in their career, because you can make or break it as well based on whatever AI you use. And there's different methods of AI, whether you're using it just for information, or whether you're using it within a product to make it more effective, to use it better, the way that you design a solution around a technical product with AI. And a lot of companies are dabbling with it. A lot of companies are having some success. A lot of companies are claiming to have success, but actually don't know what metrics to use to measure the performance of AI. But the thing that you mentioned about AI, about ethical AI, I think more importantly, moving forward, one, we got to embrace it. It is a new technology, but we also going to need to look at what regulations there are for AI. As it becomes more mature, because in many respects AI is very new to the market, only being about 3 to 4 years old in terms of implementation. But in the same way that you have financial regulations, you have property regulations, you have medical regulations, AI is also going to have to go through that birth of being regulated itself in the way that it's used. Because we don't know what the full impact is in the way that organizations might use it moving forward.
Yes, absolutely. And I have seen some stuff like even on Facebook, you've got a label if you use an AI image and stuff like that. So obviously starting to try and kind of identify that kind of stuff firstly, and there's obviously a reason for that, and some sort of legislations and stuff like that I've noticed, I think overseas in Europe especially. And I'm sure it'll come down to us as well. So, very exciting talk. I mean, like I say, most of the stuff is up my alley, and it was really, really, really cool to talk to you and get your insights. And I'm 100% sure we'll have you on the show again. It was really, really cool to chat to you. Hopefully we can do it in person next time. But Chesarae, thank you so much for joining us. We will put your links on the site. If you're comfortable for me to put your social link, like from LinkedIn and stuff, I'll put that on as well. And then we can kind of hopefully have another discussion very soon.
I'd love to, and always a pleasure to speak to somebody in the industry as well, working towards the same goals and passions. So thank you for having us, or having me on the show, and look forward to it.
Big pleasure, and have a great day and a great week forward.
You too. Keep well.
Thanks, Chesarae.
Bye.
Cheers.